Welcome to our cross-border conversation, How to Pitch Yourself for a Job. A very big thank you to Genelec for supporting this series of talks. I'd now like to hand to our speakers.
My name is Kanyisile Mashinini. I am a film director and editor from South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa to be exact.
My name is God's Favor, and I'm a freelance video editor and also an edit trainee in film and TV, and I am based in the United Kingdom.
My name is Tatiana. I'm a sound designer and sound editor for film and TV. And I'm from Brazil, but I'm based in London.
I'm Shireen Kerr. I'm also a 2D animator and illustrator from Sunshiny, Jamaica, and I'm the previous and youngest president of the Jamaica Animation Nation Network. Let's talk about what we like what's our passion, before we get into everything.
In my early years, I was ready to be an accountant, and I abandoned that very quickly once I realized what it actually meant.
I had the same experience.
And then I was like, well, these movies look cool, so how about that? And honestly, I think it's just something that's always been in my blood. It's always been a passion. I enjoy storytelling. I enjoy psychology. I think if I didn't do film, I would have studied psychology, and the psychology of film and understanding characters and trying to build characters. I think that's what attracted me to filmmaking, and it's just something that stuck for the longest time ever. And that's what's made it my blood, my bones, my hair follicles, basically. So live, breathe it. But I think that's, I don't know, maybe someone else has a different take. Maybe someone was born to be in this industry. I don't know.
I like the way that you said born to be in this industry, because I don't know if I was born to be in this industry, but I know that I've always been a creative from literally the age of 7, playing Mary in like a little nativity play.
I see.
Yeah, so from going into that and doing acting and stuff, and then also doing commercial acting, I was just interested in what was going on behind the scenes and, you know, what everyone's doing. So then I decided to move on and study film. And then that's how I kind of like found out that, oh, you know what, I want to do post-production. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
For me, everything started with sound. I always been passionate about sound and manipulated sound, so editing samples, and I was working with synthesizers. I was before working with sound for film, I was a electronic music DJ and producer for many, many years.
That's cool.
So yeah, so I had the opportunity to travel all around the world and show my work. But I also had a second passion that was film. So I could see after some years how sound affects the narrative, the storytelling, and how sound and image together are so strong in terms of cinematic. So then I start to follow this path and start to study and end up being a sound designer.
I took a summer job in accounting, and I was not born to be an accountant.
Yeah, I learned that very quickly too.
Yeah. So I actually owe my journey to the VHS. I know that's my age somewhere in there, but I had this one VHS tape of Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away, and I saw that, and it was amazing, and my brain went, yep, that's it, that's what I'm gonna do. Don't know how I'm going to do that from Jamaica, but we worked it out, so we're here.
Going on the top of our conversation, ladies, I would like to know how you girls pitch for potential work, how you work on your application, like on CV. Do you send cover letters? Do you prepare like small clips of your work to show to a potential employer or a position that you wanna take? So how each one's work in regard that.
When I'm pitching to, I guess, potential clients or to get potential roles, I send cold emails out because I feel like that's the best thing that has worked for me, and that's what I've seen results in. And when I'm kind of sending those emails out, I ensure to not send generalized emails because I think that the people receiving them they can spot if it's just copy and paste. You just sent that exact same thing to someone else.
I'm terrified of cold emails. So how do you get around that? Like, how do
Oh my
you,
gosh.
yeah.
Okay, so what I do is I tend to research the person. It's not everyone I can cold email. I need to kind of research the person, know their work, know what they do, come to them with an approach that makes us seem relatable in some way.
Okay.
And to show that I'm actually interested in what they do so that they can also have an interest in what I do. Kind of thing.
And do you do this like via LinkedIn, via any social media, or how it works? Or do you
Yes,
get the
can you
email from
explain?
this
Yeah.
contact from someone that you previously knew it, or what's the way? What's the path?
Yes.
It's a mix of things for me, but I prefer email because I know that a lot of industry professionals prefer email. If I cannot find their email, I use like IMDb Pro to find their emails.
Okay.
If I
Oh.
cannot find their emails, then I will contact them on LinkedIn or Facebook because then they tend to reply on that. And then in the end of the email, I'll kind of put like, if they have an email for me to attach my CV, because you want them to kind of have your CV on the file
Right.
so that they can, you know, even if they don't have something now, they can just like look at it and then remember that they have someone's CV to come back to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to also ask you, in case no one really knows what a cold email is, are you able to just explain it?
Yes.
Okay.
Cold.
That's
Maybe
important.
some people think that is like, oh, I've just been sending normal
Yes.
emails. I didn't know there was a hot and cold email.
A cold email is kind of, should I say, spontaneous? Like it's not you replying to a job offer. It's kind of the back way. It's kind of sneaky. That's how I think of it. It's the back way because like you don't know if somebody's, you know, thinking of recruiting. You don't know when you're gonna find someone at
Right.
the right time. It could be the wrong time, but it could also be the
So
right
you're
time.
creating your own luck.
Yeah, create your own opportunity, go the back way and be like, do you have something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what works for me.
It's funny, God's favor. Sorry, you mentioned like IMDb Pro. I don't have IMDb Pro, and someone in the industry a while ago told me to get one that was kind of like a potential tool for reaching out people.
It's a benefit to me because I can see more about people. I can see the people that they've been credited with often. I can see their contact details, I can see their agents. You know, it's really pro.
Oh, so
I
it's more
didn't know that.
information. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Okay,
That's interesting.
I don't know if you've seen, there's a question D. Williams asked in terms of pitching. Have you pitched an idea? Has anyone here pitched an idea for TV series or a feature film before?
That's actually ironic. Just the end of last month, I did. We recently had our first film fund implemented in the country, and everybody's really excited about it. So, going through that process of pitching.
What was your process?
The process is, I think a lot of artists don't really think about this side. It's more business than creative. So you have to get all of your legal stuff sorted out. One very important part of the process is finding your team and finding people who like have other jobs. And so I did have to reach out and network with a lot of people. I don't really do cold emails, like I said, I'm terrified of them. And so because of that, I network a lot. I talk to people a lot. So I'm a part of a lot of organizations. I jump into a lot of groups. I also network online. I'm coming around to it, but I always tell people I'm better face to face. because it's easier for me to read your body language when you're in front of me than
Mm.
but sometimes you can't. And so what I'll do is Discord is a very important networking tool for me. One thing about the industry is that they're all over social media. And so if you jump into a social media, no matter which one, you're gonna find someone from the industry.
Mm.
And I try to get to know them as friends. Like God's favor was saying, you get more information about them. You find out like where do you two intersect. So earlier I said I'm a TTRPG nerd. What that means is tabletop role playing. The most famous one is Dungeons and Dragons, and that helps me sort of break the ice when I'm talking to new people because it's just a weird thing that a lot of people don't expect from me. So I tend to bring it up. Like I play tabletop games, I'm a ballerina, that sort of stuff. Just things that give them something to talk about.
Mm.
That's not immediately jumping into, hey, do you have a job?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think to add on to also what you were saying, I think, and also what Tatiana asked earlier, when I try and look for work and all of that, when I get into that process, I think I take a bit of both of what you do, Shireen, and also what God's Favor does. I also send out my emails, especially in South Africa, particularly, we have production companies that are for long form format films, feature films, for film, and then you have a lot of production companies. Then you have a separate kind of group, production companies that are like for commercial formats and stuff like that. So, depending on the space that I'm in or what I'm looking for at the time, sometimes you just email both sides of the wall, or it's also helpful if I email, okay, I want to be in the commercial space right now. At the end of the email, I always write, I would love for us to hop on a Zoom call or a Google Meet call, whatever,
Yeah.
or can we grab a coffee somewhere? Is it possible for me to come meet you in person so you can see me? So that way I understand, like I'm approaching them obviously from the email part, but also I want to, the networking, like the in-person
Yeah.
networking thing, and give me an opportunity to pitch myself. You've seen the paperwork, you've seen my CV. Let me show you who I am in person. Like, let me introduce my personality. So I think I kind of take a bit of both worlds, if that makes sense. Yes.
It's funny that you said let's grab a coffee because I recently spoke to an animator from Nickelodeon, and his take on it, he uses LinkedIn a lot, and we spoke about this. He does what he calls virtual coffees. So he says sometimes you message people and you don't catch them at the right time. So he sends messages to say, hey, I'm XYZ. This is what I do. When you have some time, can we have like a virtual coffee to sort of like talk and,
It's great to create this kind of a little bit intimacy or like something beyond only like a approach, only like to please get me a job or I want to work for you. It's good to have a little bit more of like kind of this personal exchange. I think you get closer to the person behind the screen and behind the email. And yes,
I'm so happy that you said that, Shireen, actually, because I feel like when you're not able to go out and meet people, especially because maybe distance or something, that virtual space is just always really like it's useful, like now, and you don't know where it could take you, literally.
It took us here because we're not from the same country.
Now, I wanted to actually kind of turn the conversation a bit. To ask what you guys do after you've gotten the call back. Let me say that. After you've gotten the email, they've replied, they said, you know what, you've caught my eye. I'd love to talk to you, and you're finally sitting in front of this person, across the screen, across the table, and you basically provide. What do you show them, and what are mentally, how do you prepare for? Okay, I'm finally going to. This is the real pitch. This is me coming with my skills, my skill sets, and now I'm this close to getting the job?
Normally when I have a positive answer for that I get an interview, I try to research a lot about the project itself, because in audio post-production, I do a lot of tasks. I can do like a dialogue editing, sound effects editing, and also like final mixing many times. So I try to see which that position, that job requires the most. So I could highlight the experience I have with similar projects, and I also try to research a lot about like the company itself and what they do and what their needs in terms of like sound post-production, and also about the project. For example, I have an example. I did a project called Bing, which is a cartoon, is a TV show for kids. And it's very interesting because it's based on the school of Montessori. So they have a specific methodology within the characters to teach the kids, because it's for preschool kids. So I actually, for this gig, I did a whole research on each character to understand the relationship between like Bing and his best friend Sula, and also Bing and his tutor, to understand the whole arc of the narrative and the arc of the characters as well. So once I went to the interview, I was fully prepared to understand what that project was all about, you know. So not only highlighting my skills, but understanding what was the project and what they needed from me and what I could give them, you know. And in the end, I got the gig. Yeah, I have some clips to show later. If you,
Yes,
if
please
you-
show us. Yes.
Okay, so what I did like kind of a show reel with small clips of several projects, and also there is two clips they are in different languages. One is in Portuguese, because it was I did on my home country, Brazil, and one is a project that was a collaboration between Italy and Brazil, so it's in Italian. But anyway, you can have a sense of the whole range.
Let's get doodle-looky-doodle! Wow! Hello, Messi!
Baton.
Messi!
Em 3, 2, 1.
Você tem vontade de ficar rico, Léo? Pra poder fazer o que você quiser. Tipo comer bolo, geleia, requeijão, a hora que você quiser.
Deve ser bom.
Não deve ter nada melhor.
Look! I see one! I see a firework!
Oh, where? Can you show me, Bing?
There! It's not a very big firework.
Oh, that's because it's an airplane.
At the turn of this century, Leeds went from Champions League heroes to the brink of extinction. But there is new hope.
All of us were like, well, wow, no matter what he wants done.
This is a story that plays out in one of the most extraordinary seasons in this remarkable club's history.
Mi è piaciuto il cartello?
Beh, credevo che magari...
Che fossi vecchiata a tal punto che non mi avresti riconosciuta più.
You could smell the fear. You really could smell it.
We hung our lyres upon the willows in the midst. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? Imishkachech Yerushalayim, Tishkach Yemini, Imishkachech.
So was you can, as you all can see, there is a big range of like styles of projects. So there is like children TV shows for animated TV shows for children. There is documentaries. There is a feature film. There is a drama TV show, and the last one is even a piece of theater from the National Theater, that the play is recorded, and they need someone to, they have a streaming channel. So all those plays are broadcast in this streaming channel, and they need someone to mix and do a little bit of sound design to be streamed on this online channel. So my approach is each project, it's our own project. So I try to understand the arc of the project, the arc of the narrative, the storytelling, and how my work as sound designer can enhance that, and how which skills are more related with each project. So this is how I kind of pitch. So I do a lot of research with Bing, for example, the bunny. I even went to Wikipedia, because that's old. I mean, I think they're in the fifth season. So they have all the characters there, and I was really literally like with my notebook studying each character, you know, to have a deeper understanding. So yeah, so like when I get the interview, I kind of know in which ground I am.
That's beautiful. That's good. Anyone else?
Thank you.
For my brand, it's whimsy. So I like very fantastical, very whimsical, very fun things. And so I like to incorporate just little hints of my culture that people might not know about. And I find that makes for a great way to sort of pitch myself during an interview and to make people remember me. I've been on the other side before, and one thing that they don't tell you is that your interviewer is tired, and they would like to go home and eat their dinner and sleep and see their children and all of these lovely things. And so you're nervous coming into the interview, but they're also not in the best emotional state a lot of the times. You're probably the 30th interviewee. And so when I send them my portfolio or when I come in, I always try to add a bit of whimsy, and I've integrated that into my portfolio website. So if you hover over my logo, this little guy pops out. And also with my work, it is bright colors, very like mystical and magical. I also put process in there as well, so that if somebody clicks, they can get an expansion of the image and look into the details. And so these are the kinds of things that I do with my portfolio, because the person is trying to see if I can integrate into their process. Do I know how to work? Can I work so that other people can use my work? So these are the kinds of things that I try to show with my portfolio. And so similar to Tatiana, where you had like different moods, I'll do different types of lighting, different environments and textures, different styles, and different people, different nationalities and creatures, just to kind of show the range of skill that I have.
Right.
And, you know, make it a fun experience for both of us. Another tip is if you have any news about yourself, like if you've been featured anywhere, where you're a presenter anywhere, you want to put that on your portfolio websites as well. And just in case, like even if you get the interview and it doesn't work out, always make sure to have your contact information, because they might want to send your information to somebody else. That could be your next contact, your next point of.
It's asked if you suggest creating a website for animation or illustration, even if you have no credits, or is Instagram fine to showcase your process or work?
So do I suggest creating a website? Yes. And the website is not even so much because I don't think social media can work. It is a mental association between having a website and professionalism that exists in the business world. So I also have an Instagram, and it has way more work than even my portfolio. But when you have a website and you tell someone your website, especially in the business world or in the corporate world, it reads as being more professional. It reads as taking yourself more seriously to them. And the part about even if you have no credits, it's actually more important that you have a website, even if you have no credits, or especially if you have no credits, because this is you building proof of your skills. This is your proof of your skill. I actually made my website back when I was in college, and I did not have a credit to my name at that point. And it did actually help me get my first job, because when I was in the interview, they asked, okay, do you have a portfolio? And I said, yes, I have the website, and my website is monoris.com. I pay $12 for it every year, and it's the best $12 I've ever spent in terms of like how much it's given back to me. Like, it's paid for itself already. I made my site using Adobe Portfolio because it comes as a part of my Creative Cloud subscription, which I'm already paying for. So I try to use as much of the software as possible. For free sites, there is Cardo. I think it's Caareo. I think I might have misspelled that, but it's a free one-page website, which is great. There's also Linktree. I've seen other people use Wix and Weebly for their websites. So if you don't necessarily want to pay for a domain and figure out how to do all of that hosting, these are some great options to sort of get yourself started.
I did mine on that Fabric with K in the end. You have to pay a monthly fee. Yeah, but it's really easy if you're not a web developer. It's really easy to work with the templates. And I know there is one Squarespace as well that's working in the same direction. But yeah, you have to pay a small fee, but they are really easy to build the templates. And yeah, I just to make a point, I totally agree with you, and I think it's also a way to like kind of archive old projects as well, you know, even though that's we evolve in terms of our skills and aesthetic, but I think it's kind of a hub there that you can have your old works and new works and always updating. And yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, like your image inside the internet.
Yours. It's also
indeed.
yours, because Instagram, Twitter can take on your website anytime they want without telling you. I actually saw it happen to a very popular social media artist. He does a lot of D&D work, and one day we went on YouTube. His YouTube wasn't there, and his Instagram had been wiped. And it was just because a bot flagged him. It wasn't because he did anything. It was just poof. And that was 3 weeks of him just trying to. And then he made his website immediately after.
And you also can create your own aesthetic. I think it's already like how can I say, a way to show off yourself in the way that you design it, and how you
your
carefully.
Personality.
Yeah, exactly. It's already like, you know, like the first appearance of like your aesthetic. And
yeah, you know, just to also add on that, like I fully agree. I mean, also to add, not to discourage, you can start if a website is maybe a second thing you want to do, and it's easier for you to do Instagram. You can obviously definitely start with that and build up your portfolio from there, because I've done that, or that's what I started with. I don't have a website, but I definitely, if my show reel is in progress and I need someone to quickly ask me, can I see some of your work? You can just always show them your Instagram, and that's also helped me to get freelance work in the past. You know, it's about also keeping your Instagram page professional, you know, obviously keeping it, don't mix it with your personal account. Make your own, I'll say business account, because you are a business at the end of the day. Keep it separate. Put all of your work, make it look as aesthetically pleasing as possible with the features that you have. And obviously everyone's on Instagram now. If you don't have a website, can't build a website right now, struggling to learn the technicalities of it, I definitely did start with Instagram, and that's what I've been using as my portfolio as well.
one thing that always catches me with social media is the editing, particularly on video-based platforms. And God's Favor is an editor. So how do you like deal with all of that for your portfolio?
Okay, so I do have a website. I know that we're talking about the mixtures and stuff. I created my website when I was at university with zero professional experience. So this is to kind of encourage anybody who thinks that, oh, you need to work for somebody in order to have something in your portfolio. If you have a passion for what you do, the portfolio is a way to show that. That you do something in your spare time. I even have a video that I would like to share that I created at that time when I was back in university with no professional experience, and then added it to my portfolio. And it's got me a few things, you know? So
You just need that one step.
Nowadays, your glory is like money. Let's get it, Laura.
I love how the cuts work with the music as well. And the movements with the music and the clapping is really nice.
Thank you, thank you. I was just kind of like exploring rhythm and stuff.
Yes.
And obviously I didn't have anything, like I didn't have an editing computer, nothing. It was just the university equipment. And I said, you know what, I think this is what I want to do. So let me see what I can kind of put together.
On this point as well, for example, I added this showreel myself, but I would love it that would be edited by a professional editor, you know, because this is kind of another eyes as well, you know. It's like, because it's different of you editing your own work without having like really editing skills, you know. So yeah, so God's Favor, we need to be in touch for that.
Yes, absolutely.
No, that was a beautiful video, I must say.
Really nice.
I think that editing is one of those. Editors are some very patient people, you know.
Yes.
I have utmost respect for all the editors in the world, even sound engineers and all of that, because wow, just going through all of that and timing it and the beat and all of that, I think that's beautiful. And just to also come down, I wanted to ask, when dealing with obviously the client, and after you've gotten, let's say you've gotten the job, and how do you deal with feedback from your clients? And are you one of those people who's like, this is my baby, don't say anything bad about that? You know, obviously, how do you take the feedback? Is it something important to you? Is it something that, do you always go back and ask, why didn't you hire me, or why did you prefer it this way? Is it an important thing in terms of how you build yourself, I guess, as a creative?
When it comes to feedback, during interviews, I'll typically ask at the end for feedback. Or if I can't ask because somebody else needs to come in, I'll send the email just asking, like, was there anything, you know, so on and so forth. Sometimes I don't get a response. Oftentimes, when people do respond, though, it's very in detail. How I sort of sort through feedback is, what was the intention of the project, and does the feedback match that intention? Because how you view your work is not necessarily how somebody else might view your work.
Yes.
And yes, you intending to communicate a specific thing is good, but you might not have done that as well as you thought you did. And so somebody else might get a different read on it. That's also feedback in enough a way, in if somebody did not understand what your work was about. And so how I sort through it is, does it match the intention? Did I communicate properly? And just a little bit more of, is it a technical thing? Is it personal? 9 times out of 10, it's not personal.
Yeah.
9 times out of
Yes.
10, regardless of however anyone says it, because
They're not trying to say anything bad about you, baby. Don't worry.
they're not trying to say anything. How I've heard one of my colleagues explain it is, you're now a professional and they're assuming they don't have to baby you anymore. So they're just going to tell you what is wrong. Yeah, in school, you were, like, I was babied a lot. Coming into the professional world, it's just like, hey, that's terrible. I was in a review one time where our supervisor, literally, we were watching the clips as a continuous animatic, and our supervisor would stop right there. That shot is really and it was mine. Now, I was a part of a team, so nobody's gonna go, oh, it's strange.
Yeah.
But he didn't mean anything bad by it. He was literally just saying, hey, this is not working. And afterwards, like, I got a whole long list of things to fix about that scene. And I'm better for that because, giving you the chance to like go through and do it properly and see what the difference the change makes improves your ability to do it on your own later.
Yes. Yes, I think it's always an opportunity to learn more, and if you don't take it personally, if you're open like to constructive opinions, it's always a way for you to learn more and like evolve your work, especially in our industry that we don't work alone, we work together, like the sound is music, is like screenwriters. So I think all that, like all feedbacks are very relevant from all the sectors, all the areas, all the different parts of the team,
Can I just say a quick trick that I use? I notice that I get quite anxious sometimes. When I send emails and maybe I don't receive it back, or if I want to ask for feedback and maybe, they don't respond, I'm like, did they read it? Did they not read it? So I have this thing on my email and it literally tells me when someone's opened my email and how many times they've opened it.
Yes.
So I can rest my mind if like, I know they've opened it. I know, okay, they probably don't want me, or they probably think about it, or they're probably busy. I can rest my mind. And that definitely helps when it comes to, feedback and stuff like that.
I have one of those, but here's the trick to that, right? Because here's a habit I have. I'll open the email just to get rid of the notification, and then I'll mark it back as unread.
Wow.
Because I want it to stay at the top of my email list. So sometimes I open it, I read the first paragraph. I just want to make sure it's not an emergency. I just want to make sure that nobody needs me to respond right this second, because I have 50 billion things.
It's called MailTrack. It's Track's Gmail for Gmail account. I don't know if there's another one for others.
How do you guys manage being that triple threat as a creative, being your own agent and finding work, being a social media manager who edits and markets, and also creating your own art? Is there something you do to manage that workload? Yes, make friends. I have a lot of friends. And what we kind of play, to use a Jamaican term, it's again, pass around donkey. We hand different aspects of our jobs over to each other. Like, I know how to do music, but my friend is faster at it. And so if I need help with this, like, hey, you want to help me with this? And then it's just like a negotiation of, okay, I have some backgrounds to do for your personal project, or I need to sit down and we're going to brainstorm physics and world building and character anatomy for this. The answer is, don't try to do it on your own. Like, build your support network. You need it.
Yeah.
Or else you're gonna run yourself into the ground trying to be like this one perfect, hyper organized person. The trick is they don't exist. All of them have teams behind them. Like, every person you think of, all of them have teams and people behind them supporting them.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I wanted to add on to that, Shireen. I am very guilty of that. And, you know, I'm actually, but at the same time, I'm grateful for, you know, the friends, especially in university as well, the friends that I made who would shout at me and tell me, stop doing everything on your own. We're here. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I kind of like, you know, it is something that I like to
Is
name
it
it.
something about accepting help? Because I have that issue
Yes,
too.
I'm a firstborn child, so I think that's always blame it on that. It's like I've always been responsible for everybody else. So I think it is important to have, you know, a strong team around you as well. And I wanted to actually show a video of a trailer for a short film that I did, and it's funny when you watch movies or trailers and stuff and the audience watches it and sees, oh wow, this is such a nice thing, but never really knowing everybody who helped get it here, you know. And also back to the first question of, you know, taking criticism, you know, this trailer, this is probably the final trailer is probably like I think it was the fourth draft that was finally cleared, and it went through, you know, my friends, it went through family members, it went to other industry professionals telling me and my team, no, this is better, use this shot and all of that. And in the end, it brought what this is.
Hello? Don't be scared.
Taking criticism and, you know, managing all of that, it's also, you know, it helps to have, and it helps to have the right people around you at the same time. And, you know, even if you can't have that many people around you, maybe sometimes some people always want to get paid for the work. Something that I've done, because once again, as a freelancer, you work alone a lot of the time. You know, you can't afford to pay everyone. I think accepting jobs that you can, like jobs workload that you can actually take, you know, sometimes it's like, don't miss opportunities, take whatever you can. Sometimes you can't take whatever you can, but be realistic in the opportunities that you accept as well. I think that's something I came to terms with, because it's better to produce your best work instead of giving out half finished things to multiple people. So yeah.
Can we like quickly have a quick discussion about how we could, you know, people could possibly be rehired by the same company, you know, after you've maybe got your first job in that company, or if you feel like you want to do something else in that company than what you did?
One that a lot of people might not think about because it just doesn't occur to them. Express that to the company. Like, if you're there and you've worked there, tell your supervisor, I would love to work here again. And express your interests to them. Because if nobody knows, nobody can be there to advocate for you. And networking is very important in the industry. So my first tip is tell them, like, I would like to work here again. I had such a great time here. That sort of thing.
And in this case, I mean, with the cold email things, you already have the contact of the person. So it's like you are several steps ahead. So I think I totally agree with Shireen. It's like contact them, show interest, and yeah, keep that connection alive. And yeah.
Yeah. I would add on to that and say, like, apart from asking, I think during the process as well, always kind of put your best foot forward so that you are remembered doing the work as if it is, you know, your own and you care about it, you know, carrying it with like an egg.
Like conduct yourself in the way. So I would like to be here again.
Yeah, easy to work with, so they know.
Mhm.
And some will actually tell you. They'll be like, "Yep, you're the only person I want to go to. Are you free?" And then, yeah.
I agree with that. You know, always one of my mottos is 110% or nothing. And I feel like you just treat every job with give it your all and give it your everything. And obviously, people will see that, you know, people will see that, you know, you're passionate about what you do, you take everything that you do seriously.
Yeah.
That will also, that's an inviting characteristic that you can have, and it will make them want to reach out to you. It makes you memorable in their heads as well. So, yeah.
I oftentimes forget to contact people. And so I have an app or Google Calendar, whichever one. I set a little reminder with the person's name. 3 months from now, please remind me to send this email, or, you know, once a week, I need to contact this person because it won't stay in my head. I have too much going on. So I have a little brain in the form of an app, and it just says, hey, remember to contact this person at this and why. Looking to automation, take as much off of your plates as possible. So look into automating like your social media posts. So Facebook allows you to schedule posts months in advance. So if you're looking to like not have a lot on your plate, so you can focus on making these unique changes to your portfolio or making it to your CV, giving yourself the time to do that. Automation is a great way to sort of like give yourself that space.
Yeah, that's great
We're
tip.
about to close off now. Can we get maybe final piece of advice from anyone, as you know, someone coming from different frames or areas and positions in your careers, you know, how to get that job, how to work towards that job, and final piece of advice.
Yeah, for me, I would always understand what the job is about, understand like what the project is all about, and highlight the skills that are your skills that are more related with that job. Because of course we have several skills, and each project sometimes needs a certain skill more than other. So understand the project and maybe change a bit of your CV or your cover letter in relationship with that project needs, with that project need.
100%, I agree. I would also say to create an elevator pitch, so that if you do meet anybody during networking or during an interview, there's just like, it's just this pitch of like who you are, your work history, why you are here, just quite short and brief, making sure to, you know, have scenarios for why, you know, what you did during to achieve those skills, so that they know that you have these skills. You're not just saying, oh, that you can do this. They know with evidence. Yeah.
Thank you to all our speakers for such an enjoyable and informative talk.